Today's video we'll talk about wheel spacers, the dreaded wheel spacer. Can you use them? Are they safe? The answer is yes and no. So let's go over a little bit of mine here and I'll show you what to look for and what to avoid. Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for tuning into another video. If you're new to the channel, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Really helps us continue on doing things with this car. Like today, we are actually swapping out our new wheels and tires, but I figured while I'm at it, I'll film this video in between and just talk about wheel spacers. I've had these wheel spacers on the car for the last 3 years. I own the car just over 3 years now. Put them on almost right away once I lowered the car, and I have not touched them. So put them on, torqued them down to the specs. Only thing that's come off after that is the wheels and tires. The spacers have stayed on, haven't moved. So I figured it's a good way to show you guys how they work, what you should be looking for, and what to watch out for when you're buying them. All right, so wheel spacers. People want to know, is it safe to use them, or should you just, spend the bucks, get a new set of wheels and rims and all that, and avoid putting spacers on? For me, I just bought the car, not now, but originally I just bought the car, lowered it because it's one of the cheaper options to do, and I wasn't really set on a specific set of wheels and tires that I wanted at the time, so I figured I'd order these. They are hub-centric, keep that word in mind, and these ones you can see have another set of lugs on them, and it actually bolts onto the lugs on the vehicle. So some are like that. Some other ones you don't have this. It's just your bolts here are long enough that the spacer will slide over, and you just use the stock ones, put your wheel on, put your lug nut back on, you're good to go. But for these, and the example we're using today, they did come with their own. So basically this bolts onto your factory ones, and your wheel that you put on will sit on here. One thing you want to keep in mind, when you put these on, I didn't do it, around the hub, because they are hub-centric in here. It's a little dark, you guys probably can't see it. Put a little bit of anti-seize or something like that on there, because this is aluminum, this is steel. They just grow differently when they're heated up and cooled down, and she is really stuck. You got to give it a little bit of hammering, little love taps. Get a screwdriver or some sort of wedge behind here just to help pop it off, because it will end up getting a little bit of rust, and then with the expansion contraction from the heat like I just mentioned, they will get stuck on. So keep that in mind. Worst case, if they won't come off and you're looking at this video, get a heat gun, just heat up around here, keep going, takes 5-10 minutes, get it nice and warm. Give it a couple hits with the hammer and she will come off. It's not like it welds itself on there, it's just stuck and doesn't want to come off. All right, so we got them off, and you can see maybe on the back here how where the marking is there, it kind of starts to rust to the hub. You can see I'll clean up that side a little bit before we put the new wheels on. But that is what will make these things stuck. So just give it a couple hits. You can see where the screwdriver went. Chip the paint a little bit. I'm not really too worried. These will only go on when the winter sets go back on. But what you're looking for, and the reason why I said at the beginning of the video why these are safe and not safe, is you're looking for hub-centric. That's what these are. If you don't know, this is a 2019 Mustang GT. The center bore, basically, which the black here is your hub, and the center bore is how wide it is from here to the bottom. So on this is, I believe, 70.5, 70.5. So this hole from here to here is 70.5. So when you put it on, you can see in there, it fits perfectly around the hub. So when you're driving, any bumps or anything like that, if you have a space there, you have the potential for your spacer to be bouncing up and down. So reason why I say yes, they are safe and no, they're not. If you're going to get spacers, make sure you get hub-centric spacers. I've had this car well over 200 kilometers an hour. I've drag raced it. I have drove it in the snow, in the rain, bumps, smooth, everything you can think of. This car is done and I've had no issues. Like I said, I put these on almost, I'd say 3 years ago. Torqued them down, haven't touched them since, and they are still just fine. Some people are worried that the lugs might break or that these lugs might break. Just get a good quality set that's hub-centric to whatever your car is. So you'll have to do some research depending on what you're driving and figure out your space here. The new wheels going on the car are actually not hub-centric, but because it's a whole wheel and it's up against the rotor and everything, and it's very close. I believe the wheels were 72 point something, which is only 2 millimeters, which would make 1 mil up top, 1 mil on the bottom. But with a wheel, you won't actually feel that. But the other way you can get these, if it's not hub-centric, what they're doing is they are basically, you're just holding them on with your lugs. So you can see on here, maybe, if it's not too dark in there, let me grab you guys a light. So you can actually see in there, now that the light is on, how that is nice and snug because it's up around the hub. But up here, you can see there is space around your lug bolts. So, having said that, if you get a set of these and it's sitting on the bolts, you already have a little bit of play. You have play to bounce up and down. You can see if I pull these off far enough where it's not sitting on the hub, you can see how much play that has. That's way more than 2 millimeters that our new set of wheels will have, but this thing bounces all over the place. So you have to think, if you get ones like that, yes, it's tight once you put them on and it might not wobble, but with the torque and the weight of a vehicle, especially if you have a heavier vehicle, and these things start bouncing, you're not only going to put a lot of stress on your lug bolts, and yes, they could snap off, but you're going to get a lot of vibration driving down the road because it's going to be doing this every time the wheel spins. It's going to try to put all the, gravity, how gravity works. Instead of sitting up, it's going to want to go down. So basically, as you spin, this thing is going to be vibrating, and you're definitely going to feel it while you're driving around in the car. That's why I say get the hub-centric, because then even if it doesn't come with its own lug bolts attached like these do, as long as it's tight around here, even if it's sitting, say, only on one bolt, once it starts spinning, it's not going to move because it's going to be secured by the hub. And there you have it, guys, wheel spacers. Yes, they are safe. As you can see, I told you in the video, I have driven on these for almost 3 years. So no issues. Like I said, if you can find hub-centric, 100% go that way. If not, and you still want to put them on the other ones, just measure or get somebody that really knows what they're doing to put them on. Get them as centered as you can before you put the wheels on, and it'll just save you a lot of hassle in the long run. You won't always find them with bolts like mine has on there. Of course, because mine were so thick with this car, it would cover up the length of the average lug bolt on a car. So then if you're going sizing up like that, most of the time they'll come with their own bolts attached. But if you go thin, you can get these things like 2, 5, 10 millimeters only, really thin things like a pancake. Obviously, it's not going to have a bolt in there because it's got nothing to hold on to. So like I said, if you can find that version that you're looking for, but in a hub-centric brand or hub-centric model or whatever you want to call it, as long as it's tight around the hub, you'll have no issues. Just tighten her down nice, put your wheel on, and you'll probably never know it's there. Obviously, if you can't find that and you got to go a little bit bigger, they make a few different brands. If it wobbles or you feel any vibration, I recommend taking them off because that vibration is going to be putting all the load on your studs. And yes, they will break eventually. That's why I said in this video, they are and are not safe. All depends what you can find, what you can get, and obviously don't cheap out. Spend a little extra money on the good brands. And like me, you should have no issues. Hopefully this video helped you guys out a little bit, and I hope to catch you guys in the next one. So like and subscribe. Let me know what you think, and hopefully we see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody.